Hi everybody and welcome back to Azure Lowlands in the Netherlands. To be very precise, we are currently in Utrecht. My name is Isidora Katanic. I'm a Microsoft MVP based in Switzerland and I work as a community manager at Experts Insight. So community is and has always been a very important topic to me, so I'm very excited for this particular panel where we are going to talk about community with my upcoming panelists. So before we head over to our community topics, let's first do a round of introductions, starting with you, Esther Bartel. Please tell me about yourself.
I'll take the mic.
Are, what you do.
So my name is Esther Bartel. I've been working in IT, end-user computing mostly, for more than 20 years. Let's keep it at that. And I've always been very actively involved in different community programs. Because for me it's very important to share my knowledge and enthusiasm of the technology with as much people as I can. So that's basically me in a not so tiny nutshell.
Then let's go over to Femke, who's sitting with us today, also for the first time having this excitement of joining a panel. So please shortly introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do, and then we'll dig deeper
Thank you
later.
To have me here. I'm Femke Cornelissen. I'm working at Tradion. It's a company for the SMB market. So we have customers in the SMB market. I'm also community manager of Dutch Women in Tech. So I'm a community manager.
Yeah, perfect. Well, welcome. Good to have you here with us. And let's head over to Pascal.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, Pascal Naber, working and living in the Netherlands. I'm an Azure consultant. Since February as a freelancer. And well, what I'm doing with community, I'm one of the organizers of the Dutch Azure Meetup in the Netherlands here. And we are organizing Azure Fest. It's a one-day mini conference.
Yeah, so lots of focus on Azure events in the community. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you here. So let's first start looking at the event we are today. I mean, of course, we're talking about the community topic. Community is also part being of events like here in person today. What are some of your favorite highlights of being back into an in-person event after quite some time having online events? Whoever wants to start.
Okay, I can tell something about that.
Yeah.
Well, we waited for a long time for the in-person events again, especially in the Netherlands, because we had an extra lockdown. Yeah. And yeah, we were very happy with the in-person events again. We as a meetup have never done an online event. That was a major choice of us. Yeah. And that is because we thought there was already enough to choose of for people. And now not only from the Netherlands, but you can choose content from the whole world. Yeah. And we as a meetup think the social aspect is really important. So people who are meeting each other, seeing each other, see each other's faces in real life. So now finally it's time that is possible again. And yeah, I'm noticing the differences between an online event and an in-person event. It's such a big difference. I think it's much better. So I'm very happy.
In-person event.
And what is better then? There's better interaction between the presenters and the audience, but also within the audience itself. There's much more discussion, much more. People just can scream out when they think about something or have a question. They can.
It's much easier to...
Yeah, so there's much more interaction.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. What about you, Femke? So you mentioned the Dutch Women in Tech meetup, what you said? Yeah, yes. So what are challenges or differences that you have seen in the past couple of years and now and back to in-person events?
With Dutch Women in Tech, we started a half year ago, so it's not
very fresh.
Fresh. And we did some in-person events and also online events. So I think the combination of both is something that really works. So some people don't want to go to an in-person event, and some people just only want to go to an in-person event. So I think it's nice that you have both.
Yeah.
That will work.
And do you also, just like we see with Azure Lowlands today, where they made it really a hybrid experience, so we have the in-person tracks, we have the virtual track, we have the Learn Live track where we are right now. Is that something that you also see in the Women in Tech, that you combine the online event and the in-person and really make it a hybrid experience, or do you still keep them separate from each other, where you do like, okay, this is just an online event and this is just an in-person?
Just an online and just an in-person.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe in the future we can do both if we are growing and being bigger with our community.
Yeah.
That will be nice. I love
Well,
that.
the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so this basically also is the perfect moment to ask for sponsorship for the Dutch Women in Tech. So I'm just going to help you out here, Femke. So to be really honest, for me, it felt like a relief that we switched to virtual meetings. Because, well, most of the audience probably knows me already, so I started definitely with in-person.
Yeah.
It took me a while to feel comfortable on stage. And when COVID hit and we switched to virtual, for me it felt like a relief, because I only had like this tiny 2D image that I needed to maintain and to make sure that I felt comfortable with that. And now going back to in-person, I struggled with some anxieties, to be honest, to be social again and to
be close
really,
to people again.
Yes, and
big
to
crowds.
really interact with the audience again, and to just be me, because I think at the beginning it was all about still some sort of performing, trying to live up to an image that you think people want you to act out on. And so yes, this is like the third event, in-person event for me.
Since the pandemic.
Yes,
right?
since the pandemic.
Because before I see you on stage
I'm
and presenting.
I'm just being me. So I'm finally proudly wearing my nerd shirts and making it less a struggle for me with some of my health issues to still be able to participate without almost fainting in the corner because I'm dressed too hot and cannot manage to stand up all day. So yeah, I think. And I think especially hybrid is making it more inclusive for a lot of people that also have anxieties to be in packed rooms. So yeah, hybrid definitely is a great mix. And if that's not possible, then I really love how you're doing that with the Dutch Women in Tech, where you're mixing it up. So one event is in person, the other event is virtual. So you can go to the events that you feel most comfortable with. So. Yeah, big kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's also definitely something I really like about the hybrid events. They indeed have become much more inclusive, because you also have not just that you can get speakers from all corners of the world who can share their knowledge and contribute, but also for attendees. There are attendees who cannot travel for whichever reason, may it be health reasons, may it be financial reasons, who cannot go to a big Microsoft Ignite to the US, for example, who can then join online. So I think it's definitely a huge benefit for the community to do so. So speaking of events, let's head over to you, Pascal. So you organized the events in person. You said you never did them online before. So now, when you look at organizing an in-person conference, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have of organizing let's say, a one-day event?
That we don't know what the government will do. That's the biggest risk that we have.
In terms of lockdown?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or other regulations.
Yeah. So you really feel that you are worried about what external factors can change to the conference that you would or that you do organize. You don't know what's gonna.
Yeah, that's the biggest risk. Yeah,
that's definitely one of the challenges.
Yeah, 2 years ago we organized the whole conference, and a couple of weeks before, 2 or 3 weeks, the lockdown came, so we had to cancel everything.
How do you handle? I mean, you need to inform sponsors, you need to inform catering, you need to inform attendees, speakers.
Flights,
it's a huge
hotels. Yeah, so it was a really big disappointment because, of course, a lot of effort from multiple people went into it. And we did everything, of course. Also, speakers submitted sessions. We selected the sessions. Selected the venue. There's a lot of organization around this, and so this is a really big disappointment. And of course, nobody wants something like that again. So, but we are doing it again now. So,
well, we do it again. Yeah.
That's
the spirit. That's the spirit. Yeah. And what about you, Femke? If you think of the term community. Yes. What's something that you feel or immediately comes to your mind, or
I think people are all the same. They want to share the knowledge. They want to meet new people, meet each other. I really love a community, to being together and learning from each other. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So also Dutch Women in Tech is a community where mostly women came, also men, of course, and came and shared their knowledge with each other, and that's so nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Dutch word, saamhorigheid. Yes. I don't know how to translate it to English, but it will be the perfect. Yes. Any ideas how to translate saamhorigheid? Togetherness?
No, togetherness is not it. I think it's more like warm and fuzzy family vibe, something like
family,
that.
Yeah, just
and family in a good way, because of course you also have that quirky uncle that after 3 drinks definitely needs to be taken off the stage that he created for himself. But I think saamhorigheid is best translated with the family vibe. And the passion and enthusiasm of sharing this one topic, or this great spirit that we have together, this love for technology. I think that's the best description for it.
So Esther, I know you're very passionate also when you talk about technology. I've seen you before on stage. So I may call you an experienced speaker.
Yep.
What is a piece of advice you would give to, for example, Femke, right, who's starting in the community, in the, I'm sure, many speaking engagements coming along your path, or anybody else who's watching or listening today? What are some pieces of advice that you would like to give?
So first of all, just challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid. There's this awesome community that is there to cheer you on. I think that's one of the things that amazed me the most about the community spirit. And it's not just a Dutch thing, it's like global nowadays, where the experienced community leaders and community members are so eager to cheer on the new blood that comes in. And that's one of the things that I told Femke as well, because I know we talked about how am I supposed to do this panel thing. And I just said, well, just sit down, relax, think of it as a friendly chat with fellow enthusiastic people. And just go with the flow, and know that whenever you freeze up, there are so many people out there cheering you on and ready to step in and help you get past that awkward moment. And I think that's the cool part. And especially if we're talking about community and meetups and all the other user groups that are out there, they're all there to offer you a stage to get started in sharing your passion. And that doesn't have to be like directly a 45-minute presentation, full blown with storytelling and demos
super heavy,
rocking the stage and fireworks and everything. It can just be a 10-minute enthusiastic zoom in on this one piece of programming that you did, or this one setting that you figured out that enhances user experience and makes maybe even admin life easier. And if you already get that 10 minutes to share that with an audience, And one of the other things that I think is, if it's too scary to stand on a stage, because we're not all entertainers. It's also very cool with modern day technology that we can also do a video and have other channels that we still can feel comfortable and get that passion across. I think that's amazing about this whole community and the technology that we have nowadays.
Yeah, what I would also love to add to that is a piece of advice is find an ally for the first time you're speaking. That's from my personal experience. I've been asked to speak at a conference, and I was like, first, I'm not a speaker, so I'm not going to do it. But of course, you have to make that step and actually do it. But then I realized I'm too terrified, like you just mentioned, like, what do I do if I freeze? If you're together with somebody, you know you have a backup. So if you would be out of words, or your demo is not working, or whatever you're doing, you have a buddy there with you who's there to support. And there are so many, well, I would like to call them mentors, but any people like you and me in our community who are always willing to help. I'm sure whoever you would reach out to on Twitter, they're always there to support. And that's also what really makes our community, indeed, that family feeling that people are just there to help you. So for any new speaker who's looking to stand on that stage but is too nervous, find a buddy and do it together for the first time or for the second time, third time, as many sessions that are needed to feel comfortable. Like Esther also said, it took some time to really feel comfortable standing on that stage.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on together with Femke as well, to make sure, and that's one of the things why she mentioned that it's not just for women in tech. We want to build a community to create a stronger network for women in tech, but that also means that we want to be very inclusive to have the men in tech join us as well, because it's a utopia to think that we as a small group can make it on our own. I think the real synergy and power is making sure that we keep communicating and we keep helping each other, independent of what gender or what religious background or what skin color you have. It's just about sharing that passion together and just finding, like you said, those allies, those sponsors, those mentors. I still call them the cheerleaders, but maybe that's also painting a colored picture. I'm not entirely sure if it's PC or not. But
and they always do a little dance before you go on session, right?
Yes,
They're
I tried to
the
introduce that, like the cheerleader dance, because sometimes having that awkward moment where you all have a laugh first helps in relaxing and feeling more confident on stage. And I think humor is a great tool to make people feel more at ease in what they're doing.
So just back to Pascal, so as a conference organizer, you from the other side also deal a lot with speakers, of course. You have an event coming up. How do you build your agenda? So you're focused on Azure, so I assume that's your main field of, or your main technology you're focusing on. How do you find your speakers? Do you really reach out to community? Do you open a call for speakers, then need to review everything? Like, what's the process you have around that?
Well, 2 years ago, we had indeed a call for papers. And that was really nice. And we set multiple evenings to select the sessions. But this time, because of the risks that I just named, we really wanted to have people in the Netherlands or around the Netherlands. So in case there is a lockdown or anything like that, we don't have too high costs. So in this case, we selected people. Actually, not the people. Actually, we selected subjects of what we wanted to have in our conference, and with that subject, we selected speakers, and
with that you built the agenda. What about you, Femke? So your meetups, how do you tackle getting speakers to deliver sessions?
We have also Esther speaking at our sessions, but we had a few meetups, so a few events, not a lot. So we started a little bit small with some virtual sessions and a little bit a session in person. So don't have that much experience, but
As a beginner starting, you need to start somewhere, of course.
So I don't know if I can talk about that, but maybe you.
Well, you're very modest today, Femke. So one of the cool things that happened is that, of course, I offered Femke to help her out because I know, by now, I know that I have a bigger network than those that start. So I think what first got us excited, well, first of all, I was very happy that when I offered help, you accepted it, because that's also something that not everyone feels comfortable with. And that allowed me to make sure that I also retweeted and also reached out to the women MVPs in the community to ask them if they wanted to have a session. So I think Stacey Cashmore was the first one that responded in sharing her story of how she became an MVP and how she overcame some of her own fears in becoming a public presenter, which was an amazing, inspiring story. Then I shared some funny stories about how I rolled into the community, ended up dressed up as a minion. We're not going to go into those details anymore. Fortunately, we couldn't find the video anymore, so there is hope. It disappeared from the internet, which is an accomplishment on its own.
On the World Wide Web, but where?
Yes. But yeah, so hopefully that inspires others too to realize that even if you're not making all the smartest decisions about public appearance, it all can turn out for the better, and it can help you gain some confidence and build on the network. So what we're seeing now is that, well, Femke is now getting introduced at different events. And
I believe we actually even outside of this through, I think it was Peter Rising who introduced us together, and that's indeed the power of community. Like it really comes from everywhere, and we still connect all on this level.
Yes, so basically all I wanted to say is that I can introduce you to some people, but I don't have the very organizable skills. So I'm very happy that you are better at organizing these events and making sure that people get informed and get that stage. So yeah, I think that's awesome.
That's also something, of course, in a community of different skill sets, and we bundle them all together, and that's, of course, what makes all of us better. So we have a little bit more time left, and we need to wrap up. So before we finish, maybe, Pascal, you quickly want to say, when is your next event coming up? Where can we go to find more info? Where can we get tickets? Give us a short pitch.
Yeah, so the next Dutch Azure meetup, well, actually, the same team that organizes the meetup is also organizing Azure Fest, and all our time is in Azure Fest now. So that's a bit of a doubt of a pity for Dutch Azure meetup. Yeah. But Azure Fest is the 22nd of September. It's free to visit, thanks to the sponsors. So some speakers are already announced. And and more to come. Yeah.
What's the website?
azurefest.nl.
All right. So if you're watching or listening, go to azurefest.nl if you would like to join on September 22nd here in the Netherlands.
Indeed.
Yeah. Perfect. Then thank you so much for your time. 30 minutes flew by very fast when we talk about the topic we're all passionate about. So I hope you enjoyed sitting here with us on the sofa, and have a great rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.